Hey, I'm Rob Gant with the Berkeley Independent and the Goose Creek Gazette. I'm here today in Summerville with my teammate Roger Lee of the Summerville Journal Scene. We are talking about the Football Talk Game of the Week. We're doing a second video this week because people want more football talk.
That's right.
So we're doing a separate video specifically focusing on one game we feel like is a game of the week. The game that we have chosen this week is Berkeley, coming off that win over Summerville, rolling over to Wando to meet the Warriors, who are a pretty solid football team. This is our football edition. Trivia, who's this on the cover? Do you know? Who is that?
Berkeley receiver.
Berkeley linebacker Jake Dunn, who had 12 tackles in the 40-37 win over Summerville on Friday night. Okay, well, let's just see here. Where do we start here? I tell you what, Wando appears to be a better football team than I thought they were. At the beginning of the year, they beat Summerville. They just played a really, we call Berkeley Summerville a classic. Wando Ashley Ridge was a classic too.
It was a tight game.
And so I guess since we're talking about Berkeley and Wando, what was it about Wando that stood out to you?
Well, what stood out to me about Wando offensively is they can run or pass. Jaden Singleton is their running back, and he is just a horse out of the backfield. He can get those tough yards, but he also has good hands. They went to him through the air a few times, and in fact, the game-winning play, they went to him on a pass. So, I would say Berkeley needs to watch out for him. Their quarterback, one of those quarterback, Brandon Pritchard, had I believe it was 200 yards just in the first half. Now, Ashley Ridge slowed him down in the second half. But he went to several receivers, had a lot of success, and also offensively, their receivers do not quit. They got so many yards after contact where Ashley Ridge could have made the tackle right then, and they didn't, and they would get 5 more yards. Sometimes they'd break free for 30 more yards. Wando is just, while they're not a very polished-looking team, especially on offense, they want to win. They have a lot of drive, and they look well. Defensively, Wando was able to get great pressure on Ashley Ridge last week. I think if you didn't have a Matt Duncan back there in the backfield, that game would have been totally different because Matt made a lot of plays happen. He's a big guy and doesn't mind running the ball, and so he broke some tackles himself. So that's going to be a key for the Stags, is protecting their quarterback when it's passed and making sure you get some holes because the Wando defense is pretty good. I think, in talking with Joe Call after that Summerville game, one of the things he said was that, that Wando did some stuff they weren't quite expecting defensively. And he didn't get into details on that. I just think they're just a really good football team. Now, I also like Berkeley. In fact, I would pick Berkeley in this game. But why don't you've seen them more than I have, Rob. Why don't you talk about Berkeley?
Well, what I'll tell you, look, I saw Berkeley on Friday night, and I know the final score is 40-37. And at first thought, you're thinking, man, Summerville really hung with Berkeley. And that is true by the final score. But when you look at kind of how the game unfolded and how Summerville was able to stay and beat in the game, it makes a little more sense to you. I'll tell you this, Berkeley muffed a punt at its own 20 to set up a short field for Summerville. Berkeley kicked to Brody Hopkins for some inexplicable reason. I don't know why you kicked to that guy. He returns at 95 yards for a touchdown. Then he got behind the defense on a halfback pass. So there was a little bit of trickery, a little bit of things that are special. You kind of put an asterisk by them. I think Berkeley got down 24-7, and then I think they kind of cleared that mental clutter they had from the loss to Fort Dorchester, and they kind of got them moving. The offense kind of got to clicking, and they were able to outscore Summerville 33-13 the rest of the way after they got their feet under them. So, my opinion is of Berkeley. Hey, Berkeley's got an excellent quarterback. Willie Chisholm made his first start. He's got good wheels. He threw for about 369 yards. He ran for 50 or 60 more. So he's a guy that if you bring pressure, especially from the back of the defense, he's a guy that can find a little crease and go the distance. And he did an excellent job delivering the ball to Solomon Butler, Hakeem Meggett, Those guys combined for 23 receptions for something like, I'm pretty sure it was over 300 yards. So he did a nice job getting the ball to his playmakers. And then when they needed some runs, they were able to just turn around and kind of give it to Cortez Hayward, and he was able to, pick up some significant yardage on the ground. I think he was under 100, but he did have some nice runs for him, and he scored a touchdown. Defensively, like I was saying earlier, I think Berkeley's defense played a lot better in that game than it may appear. Somerville had the short field a couple times. Berkeley, including overtime, when Somerville got the ball first, Berkeley's defense had to run out there and defend. They had a sack for 5. No, they had a tackle for loss for 5 on the first down. They gave up 5 on the second down. Then they knocked down Wilder inside the 5. Made Somerville settle for a field goal. Field goal was good. Well, because they held them to a field goal, they were able to score the game-winning touchdown on the pass from Chisholm to Meggett. And one other time, Somerville had a chance really late in the game to ice it. It was 31-27. They had the ball in the closing minutes. If they score a touchdown there, I don't know that Berkeley can beat them, but they hold them to a field goal there too. So my take on this thing is Berkeley's defense is still pretty good. I know it looks a little crazy when you look at the fact that they gave up 37 against Somerville, but if you really dig down deeper in there, you'll see that Berkeley's defense is pretty good. My opinion, Berkeley will be a little bit too athletic for Wando. I think Berkeley will just to be a more polished, better football team. I kind of agree with you that Berkeley's probably going to win the football game. The question will be is which one of these teams can come back down to earth? Both won emotional overtime games that they can leave you a little bit emotionally drained going into the next week of practice, and so it's not really the time to go into a game not fully dialed in and mentally ready because it's the region opener for both teams. Yeah. So the team that can come back down to earth quicker, I think will be in the best position to win the game. I've seen Berkeley. I think Berkeley's the better team. So
I agree.
What kind of score you got on that?
I see like a 28-21 maybe.
28-21 Berkeley?
Maybe, yeah.
Man, I'm going to
go either way because, like I say, they can both play defense, but they both can hit those big plays. That's what hurt Ashley Ridge against Berkeley. Berkeley just hit some big plays and got down in the game early. So, I could see it being a low-scoring game, but yeah, you tell me what you think.
Look, I'm going to say, hey, Wando was in a real competitive game with Ashley Ridge. We just saw that. Berkeley blew the doors off Ashley Ridge. Wando was in a competitive game with Somerville. So was Berkeley. But as I just said, there's a little bit more truth to that when you dig into it. So I think Berkeley is substantially better than Wando, and I'm going to go with the Stags 35, the Warriors 20.
Okay.
See y'all Friday night.